also have been hearing you're back in the studio with John Feldman, and working on some solo music.
Yeah, we're about 8 or 9 songs into the second solo record, so expect to have that out probably first quarter of next year. We've got a little bit of time off here before the next Black Veil thing. Well, actually, we're heading out to do Download Festival, and then a little bit of Warped Tour, and then we're taking a little bit of a break until the fall. So get to working on that record. Yeah.
What's going to be your approach with the second solo album? How will that compare with the first one?
I think the first one, like with anything, you're trying to find the roadmap of what the project is. So you're developing not only the voice and what it's going to be like, but also just the instrumentation, the aesthetic, all that stuff, and it's all being built at once. Now that I've solidified what I think the project is, it's been a lot easier to just kind of go in and write songs that, in my mind, feel appropriate for the project.
Do you think you're going to be doing any co-writes this time around?
Yeah, I think it's always fun to bring people in. On the last one, we had so many. That was kind of the fun element we had, everybody in the kind of, we had the pop punk all-stars, between Gerard Way and, there was just so many people in there. With this one, we haven't really done that as much.
Right.
We're lucky enough to, John has a great relationship with Travis Barker and the guys from Five Seconds of Summer and so many other people who happen to be in the studio often. But the only, I think, big kind of in our world co-writes so far that we've done is I wrote with Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio,
awesome.
who worked on the previous record.
Fantastic. How much do we love Matt Skiba in Blank?
Oh, it's excellent. I was never. It's not. What? Actually, I worked with. I should say I worked with Mark Hoppus as well.
Right.
I was never not a fan of Blink-182, but I was never a massive fan in the sense that I was of Alkaline Trio, because Alkaline Trio is my favorite band growing up. So, it's a nice little combination. And now that I've gotten to know Mark and been around Travis, and they're just such cool people.
Great,
that,
such great guys.
All of them combined, it's my favorite band.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Oh, they're the best. What about your book?
Yeah, it's almost done. I think within the week it should be finally.
Oh, this is
done.
The home stretch.
Yeah, the final kind of you finish the book to what you think it's done, and then you send it to the editor, and they say this story doesn't make any sense, and then you go, oh wait,
great.
Yeah, but I've been really lucky. Ryan Downey is working on it with me, and he's been interviewing me. Basically, the way it started was I had initially started to do the book entirely different, and I had put it together, and it got to the point where it just didn't feel like I wasn't remembering enough or whatever. And a fair point is that I used to drink pretty heavily and blacked out a lot, and so there's a lot of missing pieces in there. And so Ryan's been interviewing me in different capacities, whether it's with Alternative Press or whatever, since I was 19 years old. So he has all these manuscripts of interviews that he had done, and we were kind of going through them, and I was remembering all these stories and kind of giving me jumping off points. So we wound up doing the book where many times he would just say, here's this situation, what do you remember of it? And then I would write my story based on a scenario. So the way we end up doing the book is it's a lot of little vignette stories. It's not necessarily, because I'm 27 years old, it's not a memoir of my life.
Right.
It's just little vignettes and things that are not necessarily in chronological order, just things I remember from growing up in Ohio to moving to Los Angeles to being in a band. And most of it kind of cuts off before the band really takes off. It's a lot about my childhood.
That's awesome. What do you hope fans take away from it?
I think that one of the most important things when I was growing up was I always believed that rock stars and people in bands were not like gods that were shit from the sky, so to speak.
Yeah.
I felt pretty strongly that I could do this, despite the fact that I didn't open my mouth and sing like a virtuoso, even though I was a little chubby kid who people called Chunk growing up. I didn't have any of the things. I'm from a small area outside of Cincinnati in Ohio. Like I didn't have any of the things that lined up to say I was going to be doing what I do today. And so to me, it's more about removing the veil, so to speak, and showing that it really is about dedication and hard work, and also luck. There's a lot of things that I can't replicate or understand why they worked, but sometimes they do. So I hope that people can take away from it the inspiration that I am every bit the same that they are, and I hope there's a whole batch of new people that do it better than me.
That's beautiful. I'm sure your fans are really going to appreciate you, your candor and your being, being earnest.
So, I think one of the big mistakes people make is to believe that they're infallible. And earlier in my career, a large part of what I did was to try to build kind of a facade of this, rock star guy, because I was insecure in myself. And as I've gotten older, the facade on stage and the person I am have kind of become one and the same. And I feel very strong in who I am. And I feel like it's time to be able to share things. Look, this is not a tell-all. This isn't there's no juicy,
Yeah.
whatever, rock star party stories. This is just about life and a kid from the Midwest.